Hey folks, TJ here, back with another video. So in this video, we're going to talk about Phong Le and his pretty ridiculous Bitcoin and MSTR price predictions over the next 7 years around by 2032. So what I'm going to do is I'm first going to play the CNBC interview clip where he mentions that Bitcoin could hit $1 million over the next 7 years. And then I'll also play his elevator pitch from the Q4 2025 MSTR earnings call, and then we'll talk about it.
But the last couple of weeks and months have been tough for crypto investors and for strategy shareholders. You're speaking to them right now. What is your message to your investors?
My message is to hold on. Right, we've been through Bitcoin downturns in the past. In 2022, Bitcoin got up to 68K, went down to 16. That was a 75% drawdown. Now Bitcoin went up to 125K, got down to 60. That's a 50% drawdown. 7 years from now, when Bitcoin's at $1 million and goes to 750K, it'll be a 25% drawdown. Everyone will think it's the end of Bitcoin. And I'll say hold on then too.
Okay, so that was an interesting take from strategy CEO Phong Le over on CNBC about Bitcoin hitting $1 million over the next 7 years. Now I'm going to play his roadmap to strategy doubling its Bitcoin per share over the next 7 years as well.
And how do we outperform Bitcoin? We produce Bitcoin per share. We increase Bitcoin per share, which is the change in Bitcoin per share is Bitcoin yield. And you look here over the course of the last 6 years, we've increased Bitcoin per share every single year. That's why we outperform Bitcoin. If you buy one Bitcoin at the beginning of the year, you'll have one Bitcoin at the end of the year. If you buy one share of strategy at the beginning of the year, 2025, you would have had 23% more Bitcoin at the end of the year, 2025. We increase Bitcoin per share, and we call that increased Bitcoin yield. Next slide. So how do we think about this over the course of the next 7 years? I showed you what we've done in the last 6 years. The way we're going to increase Bitcoin per share over the course of the next 7 years is we are going to sell digital credit. And what does digital credit do? By selling digital credit, we generate amplification. By generating amplification, we increase Bitcoin per share. By increasing Bitcoin per share, MSTR common outperforms Bitcoin. It's a very simple formula. And what are the inputs? How much digital credit can we sell? Which is how much stretch can we sell? Here's an assumption that on a base of $60 billion of Bitcoin, if we can sell 10% of digital credit, which is $6 billion, this is what this might look like over time. And you say $6 billion, is that a lot or is that a little? Well, last year we sold $7 billion of digital credit and we raised over $25 billion in the equity capital markets. So we think this is a fairly conservative assumption, $6 billion. This assumes a 10% dividend rate, which is where we are right now, and that we're issuing equity to pay for the dividend on digital credit at 1.34x MNAV, right? And so I'll call this a low scenario. If we have this low scenario over the course of 7 years, we'll increase Bitcoin per share 1.4x. That's a 5% annual Bitcoin yield. Next slide. What if we can do a little bit better? What if we can assume 16% of digital credit sales? So not $6 billion, but $10 billion. What if the Fed lowers interest rates or we're able to lower interest rates on our digital credit down to 9%? And what if the view of this causes investors to believe we'll increase Bitcoin per share and our MNAV goes up and we have amplified Bitcoin and MSTR and we're able to get to 1.75x MNAV? This scenario with a assumption of 30% Bitcoin ARR gets us to a 2x increase in Bitcoin per share over 7 years, which is a 10% annual BTC yield. Next slide. What does a more aggressive scenario look like? Maybe we can assume 20% digital credit sales. We're able to drive the dividend rate down to 8% and our MNAV goes up to 225. Then we can increase Bitcoin per share 2.5 times over 7 years and a 14% annual Bitcoin yield. That's another scenario. And I'll go to the final slide of my section. Ultimately, this is the strategy of the company. We're going to issue digital credit through Stretch. We're going to amplify the common equity because of it. It increases our Bitcoin per share, and we outperform Bitcoin. What are the levers that we can play with? How much digital credit can we sell? How attractive can we make Stretch? How well do we market it? How well do we distribute it? With higher demand, we can lower the cost of credit, and we'll increase the MNAV. That's the thesis for the company, and that's what we're excited to do, and that's what we're going to focus on in 2026.
Okay, yeah, so I decided to create this presentation on Miro to kind of help out with my thought process, and also to show some of you the mathing that I've done in order to come to this $4,000 plus share price for MSTR by 2032. So the good thing about Strategy CEO Phong Le is that he is a forward thinker. I like how he thinks well into the future over the next 7 years, so that the company can simply just increase Bitcoin per share, and usually over time Bitcoin goes up. So kind of to recap everything that we saw earlier, Strategy CEO Phong Le, he has a Bitcoin prediction of about $1 million per Bitcoin by 2032. So he said that in the CNBC clip. And he also mentioned how, Bitcoin could do a 25% drawdown to 750K, and people would still say it's over. But, at the end of the day, it looks like it's been a good idea to just hodl Bitcoin. In case you folks didn't know why, Bitcoin is a fantastic savings account. So over the last 10 years, Bitcoin is up 16,000%. And even over the last 7 years, Bitcoin is up over 1,700%. So even though Bitcoin has some drawdown years, 2026 hasn't been so great, and 2022 was pretty brutal. Over the longer, you're going to do pretty well saving in Bitcoin. So I think that's what Phong Le was referring to about just hold on and keep stacking. So Strategy plans to double Bitcoin per share in 7 years. We saw a lot of this information from the Q4 2025 earnings presentation. So I'm on that page, and the exact data, the exact numbers that they used, they went to double the Bitcoin share to about 381,000 Satoshis. Okay, so we're on that slide right here where it talks about that doubling the Bitcoin per share. Hope everyone can see it. I don't want it to be too big. So we can see here, this is the slide about doubling the Bitcoin per share. So this is the slide that I'm going to use as a reference point for this video. So that's assuming digital credit sales of about 16% of the total Bitcoin held on the balance sheet. Pretty good, pretty solid. I would assume most of that money would come from STRC, or I don't know, maybe the company will launch more preferreds in the future, but right now I think STRC is the iPhone moment. Okay, that's assuming a 9% dividend rate and an MNAV of 1.75. So obviously, this is going to really help the company improve the Bitcoin per share, because at the end of the day, that's basically what we're looking for. So what I did is I also used a Satoshi to USD calculator. So I plugged in 381,000 sats. And you can find this calculator over on bitbo.io. So I just plugged in 381,000 sats. So at the moment, that's worth about $255 real-time pricing. And then you can see it also converted the amount into Bitcoin. Pretty cool. So assuming that, the company is able to do that, increase Bitcoin per share to 381,000, and Bitcoin hits $1 million. So 0.00381 BTC would be worth about $3,810 if Bitcoin reaches $1 million, assuming an MNAV of 1 for basic or diluted shares. Okay. So that would be, obviously if Bitcoin hit $1 million and the Bitcoin per share was that high, that would be how much it would be worth in terms of the raw market value. Okay. Now, the current MNAV, according to the MSTR website, according to strategy.com, is 1.16. That's including the preferreds and debt and the total enterprise value of the company. So not just the market cap versus the Bitcoin reserve. So using that MNAV, if we were to include that, that means that the stock would be valued at about $4,419. So that's quite a ways away, okay, from where we are currently at trading at the price. And that's the power of Bitcoin. That's the power of increasing Bitcoin per share, and then Bitcoin also potentially hitting $1 million over the next 7 years. Now, let's say if the MNAV was 1.5, that would value MSTR stock at about $5,715 if per share Phong Le's predictions comes true. And that equates to about a 30x upside if the MNAV stays at 1, and a 45x upside possibility is possible if MSTR trades at an MNAV of like 1.5. So we go back to this. We go back to this chart here. We can see that how increasing Bitcoin per share really pays off. In the long run, and at the end of the day, it's hard to control things like MNAV. You can't control how much STRC they sell, but increasing Bitcoin share is easy to track, and it's usually consistent. Okay, so the best way to track Bitcoin per share, there's a couple of ways to do it. Obviously, you could just head over to the strategy.com website. They have Satoshis per share. Also, you can find this information on saylortracker.com, or you can just head over to the Strategy IR website as well and find this data. So as of right now, the Bitcoin per share, it's pretty much hasn't changed much. It's still about 195,563. And then another good site is saylortracker.com as well. They usually have the sats per share updated as well. So I'll probably try to add something and write my own tool to show this number on mstrinvestor.com. So if you have any ideas for the website or anything like that, just let me know in the comments below. So yeah, there's a lot of upside, I think. Obviously, this isn't exact math and this is just some projections, but if Phong Lee is right, this stock could really rip. And like I mentioned, it has 30 to 45x upside over, by 2032, assuming Bitcoin continues going up, and that's what Bitcoin's done over the long run. It's just continued to go up. So that's one of the reasons why I bought more shares this week, and I plan to just try to acquire shares. At first, I was trying to do it every month, but as I've been doing more and more research, I'm trying to do weekly buys here to really scoop up these shares during the 2026 crypto bear market, because I don't believe this bear market is going to last forever. I really believe that Q4 2026 will be a breakout period for MSTR and Bitcoin. It'll officially been the 1 year mark since October 6, 2025, where Bitcoin topped out 126,000. So I think it's just a great accumulation zone right here. Fantastic time to get MSTR, especially as it's dipping below its 200 week simple moving average. So last time that happened, it was a fantastic buying opportunity, and then the stock went on to 31x. So maybe it does another 30x. I don't know. It might take a little bit longer, but seeing some of these numbers thrown out here by Phong Lee, really interesting. It really makes me want to be more aggressive during this crypto bear market sell-off period. So that's it, folks. Hope everyone enjoyed the video. Like I said, if you have any questions or anything, leave them in the comments below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more videos. And that's it. Until next time, take care.